They were seeing how many feet it would go up and down on the measurement at the bow. I think the bow was going up and down 30 or 40 feet, I can't remember. I tried to lean over to take a picture of it. So a lot of footage was spent on water and birds rather than the Parthenon and the pyramids. But that's okay. Oh, somebody else is taking pictures. I later found out this deck was closed. We weren't supposed to be out there. Here we are, still looking out the porthole on our way to Australia. Sailing into the west. Ah, here we are, coming into Sydney Harbour. This is the entrance to Sydney Harbour. Very beautiful harbor, very large harbor, huge, many miles long. There's coming around the final bend into the actual city, the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Back in 1966, Sydney only had one or two large, tall buildings. I was very excited to see the Opera House. And there it is. Back in the days when I had hoped I might have become a singer. Unfortunately, I didn't have very good training to start with. Here we are at Bondi Beach. We left Los Angeles in February, and of course it's the middle of summer in Australia. We had got here, this is about the second week in March. That's the Bondi Beach. Sydney, the city of red roofs. Going across the Harbour Bridge on our way to the Blue Mountains. There's a wallaby or a kangaroo. Nasty little creatures. There I am attempting to be friendly, and I probably am lucky I didn't get whacked in the face. One of the birds, emu. There's Daryl Dean again. More funny animals in Australia. With some of the students from the ship. Quite a beautiful country. This is up in the Blue Mountains, near the Three Sisters, what they call the Three Sisters. Cable car going across. There's the Three Sisters out there. We took this, the steepest railroad in the world. Well, it's a little car that you ride on rails down this very, very steep mountainside through a rock tunnel, and there's the Three Sisters, what they call the Three Sisters. This is in the Blue Mountains, 100 or so miles inland from Sydney. Here we are out on that gondola thing. There's the shadow of us down below. It was a little unnerving, actually, to be out there. Just looking out through the bottom. Some waterfalls. And people there, too. Oh my gosh. Whoa, let's go down, down, down. There goes Pat Pate. She became one of my best friends on the boat. Down the funicular. The car's on rails. It's pulled up and it is let down by gravity. It's pulled up by a cable on a winch. Australia was fun. I'm just sad I ran out of film. I have a little more in Singapore and a couple of things in Africa, but that was the end of it for the movies on this trip. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. Now we're leaving Australia on our way to Perth and then Singapore. More pictures of the boat. Five months on board that boat. Many a time I wished I was home. Like every day. But still, I was lucky to be there, and I wish I could do it again. Properly this time. Stella and I might do that. We might leave from the West Coast and strike out around the world. Here we are back on board. Exercises every morning. We took all of our classes on board the ship. This is going down around the bottom half of Australia. That was our rabbi, who later was thrown off the ship for smuggling an unregistered Israeli from Israel onto the boat, trying to take him to America. This boat was also used in the opening scenes of the Coppola movie, The Black Stallion, the original version. They had the horse on the boat and the fire. Or it was a boat exactly like this. There's the numbers. Here we are down on the deck, goofing around. One little game I actually invented was jumping up. When the bow went down, we jumped up. And sometimes the effect was quite amazing. Also, from day number one, I was on that deck every night after dinner at sunset. The first few nights I was pretty much alone. By the time a month or two had passed, many people were up on deck watching the sunset. A couple of these guys are my roommates. I think there were 5 of us in the stateroom. Oh, there I am in the shorts. Do this again in slow motion. This is in the Sumatra Straits, I believe, coming up towards Singapore. That old boy there was our steward. Little vanity there. This again, regular speed. Yours truly with a Chinese junk. This is coming up towards Singapore. Actually, we sailed right by Krakatoa, which I think that is Krakatoa there. What's being grown again after the old mountain blew up in the 1800s. Here we are up around the pool. I didn't go swimming much. The pool was salt water and kind of yucky. These are the port authorities coming on board in Singapore Harbor. Our boat was moored out, anchored out in the middle of the harbor, and we had to take small little launches into the town, into the dock. That's what these boats are. They're lined up ready to take all of us off the ship. to go into the town of Singapore. And they're trying to sell us stuff already. It was a rather precarious transfer. One false move and you might end up in the water. Got a couple of stories about that to tell, but I won't tell them here. I don't have the time. This is in Singapore now. Looks like we're by the Snake Charmers outside the Raffles Hotel. The Raffles Hotel had snake charmers with real live pythons and black mambos, in which I had my photograph taken with a black mambo around my neck. There's one of the Buddhas. This is back when Singapore was still a little old colonial city. I think they were just beginning to construct the first high-rise building. All the boats, when people were still living on the river that goes through the middle of town. I don't know if I have that on this tape. I don't think I do. One of my roommates and I went on a rickshaw ride. That's what this is, I believe. Where they pedaled us all over town for hours on end. Here's our crew practicing lifeboat emergency exercises. Now we're in Africa. This is me hitchhiking through East Africa. Rodrian and I hitchhiked from Mombasa to Nairobi down around Mount Kilimanjaro and back. There is an elephant. And I have a lot of stories to tell about this too. Especially the night we were left out hitchhiking. We were virtually out in the middle of the game preserve. Left off at sunset, out in the middle of nowhere. We were very lucky, I think. Finally, about 4 hours later, a little lady picked us up and said, "Ma, you boys shouldn't be out here." Why, just last week, a lion carried off a child in the closest village to here, which is only 5 miles away. These are elephant herds in the Savo Preserve. This is on the way to Nairobi. We had a ride with the championship race driver of the East Africa. This is in a pet zoo, little baby animals. This is outside of Nairobi on the game preserve. That bright spot is the drive-in theater in the background. We went on a guided tour, on a bus tour out to the game preserve. We spent one day in Nairobi. The first night we got there, we stayed in a hotel. The second night, when we had to leave, we didn't have any money, so we had to hitchhike out of town, leaving about sunset. Somebody took us out to the edge of town and dumped us off, right out in this very neighborhood where all these crazy wild animals are. Luckily, we were picked up and taken to a missionary's house where we actually slept in a Maasai hut, a native hut, all night. There's one of the lions that could have eaten us that day. As you see, they're right outside the city. This is in 1966. I was 21 years old, and I would love to go back to Africa. Here's some more of our students who managed to make it to Nairobi, although we were the only two that hitchhiked. Lots of stories to tell about this, but I don't have the time here. I'll be putting some of that information together on my book when I dig out all my letters and write a story about all this. Here we are, one of our rides. We saw quite a few animals. I believe this was the next day on the way to Arusha. Yes, it was. A couple of the natives walking by there. We hitchhiked down south to Tanzania. We didn't have visas for Tanzania, but the fellow that gave us the ride over the border got us in the country. Then we were a little nervous about getting out. That's another story. This is on the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro. These two boys took us up into the jungle. Of course, we didn't know where we were going or what we were doing. That's Rod. And yours truly. We wore the same clothes for 5 days. I think we might have taken a bath here, I'm not sure. Here we are entering Tanganyika and leaving Tanganyika and entering Kenya. Again, we were walking, came across these boys and children getting water at the local creek. Played a lot of games with them, ducking in and out of the grass. Right around the next bend, up and down the road a bit, we saw a bunch of elephants. Somebody had picked us up, though, and had given us a ride. There's Rod. Here I am, coming back through the wilds of East Africa. What a trip.